Some important news out of the UK recently. Woman with Down syndrome loses abortion law appeal. Heidi Crowter, a woman with Down syndrome, has been in a years-long battle with the UK government over the UK's current abortion law, which allows abortion up until birth for a fetus who has Down syndrome. This isn't theoretical, by the way. Parents out of the UK have reported being asked if they want to terminate as late as 34 weeks for no reason other than their child had Down syndrome. In late November of 2022, the Court of Appeal decided the Abortion Act does not interfere with the rights of the living disabled. The implication apparently being that fetuses all the way up until birth aren't really living, and the other implication that being able to abort a fetus with Down syndrome at any stage in pregnancy has no effect on people with Down syndrome otherwise. If you have any experience or connection to Down syndrome communities and you get to see the kind of discrimination that people with Down syndrome and their families face, you know that this is a total farce. The court acknowledged that many people with Down syndrome and other disabilities will be upset and offended by the fact that a diagnosis of serious disability during pregnancy is treated by the law as a justification for termination, and that they may regard this as implying their own lives are of lesser value. But the court went on to describe that as their perception of what the law implies, and said that perception and implication were not enough to interfere with Article 8 rights, which are rights to private and family life. So you may wonder, what does the right to abort a fetus with Down syndrome even in the 8th or 9th month have to do with private family life? I mean, at that point, we're basically talking about infanticide, and you certainly can't make the argument that it has to do with bodily rights because you could induce labor with the intent of live birth to restore bodily rights. This isn't about that. This is about making sure that the fetus is dead. Still, a representative from the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, which is basically the British Planned Parenthood, claimed there is no contradiction between a society which champions the rights of disabled people and one which allows women to make difficult decisions in heartbreaking situations. Here, of course, they mean it would be heartbreaking if your child was going to have Down syndrome and the difficult decision is to abort them so that you don't have to raise a child with Down syndrome. But then she goes on to get to the real heart of the matter. If the British government were to say that it's discriminatory to allow abortion in the 8th or even 9th month because a fetus has Down syndrome, then that would imply that fetuses have rights. And if fetuses have rights, that's a threat to abortion. So instead, the British government is going to let a law stand that was created in 1967 when people with Down syndrome weren't even allowed to be in school with other children. Apparently, letting people with Down syndrome know that their lives are valuable and that they are as worthy of consideration as everyone else is not as important as protecting abortion.